Hello everyone, welcome to EazeeMath. In this video, we are going to learn how to convert decimal numbers to fractions with just one simple rule. I know that it may look a little difficult at first, but once you learn this rule, converting any decimal number to fraction becomes super easy. So let's get started and understand what's the rule. The rule is step number 1. Whenever I have any decimal number, I'll ignore the decimal point and just write the decimal number as it is in the numerator. Let's say I have a number 0.2. Then I will ignore the decimal and 0.2 will then be just 2. So I will write 2 in the numerator. Step number 2 is count the decimal digits. Now in my original number, there is just one digit after the decimal. Since there is one decimal digit after the number, I'm going to divide this by 10. We will count the decimal digits or the number of digits after the decimal and place the power of 10 in the denominator. If I have one digit after the decimal, I will divide the numerator by 10. If I have two digits after the decimal, I will divide the number by 100. If I have three digits after the decimal, I'll divide the number by 100. Now, step number 2 was counting the decimal digits and placing a 10. Now, step number 3 is simplify if possible. Now, in this number 2 over 10, I can see that both my numerator and denominator are multiples of 2. So, I will divide the numerator by 2 and the denominator by 2. So, the answer would be 1 over 5. 2 divided by 2 is 1 and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So, 0.2 in terms of fraction is 1 over 5. Let's understand this rule and practice some more questions. Second example, I have a number 0.75. Now I'm going to write my step 1 here. Ignore the decimal and write the number as it is in the numerator. I ignored the decimal and wrote the number in the numerator. Step number 2 is count the decimal digits. When I count, there is 1 and 2 digits after the decimal. So I will divide the numerator by power of 10 or by a number that has two zeros, which is 100. So I will write 1, 0, 0. Step number 3 is simplify. Now I can see that 75 and 100 both are multiples of 25. So I will divide the numerator by 25 and divide the denominator by 25. 75 divided by 25 is 3 and 100 divided by 25 is 4. So the final answer is 3 over 4. If dividing 75 over 100 with 25 seemed difficult to you, what you can do is you can first divide 75 and 100 by 5 initially. You can do the long division method and 75 divided by 5 would be a 15 and 100 divided by 5 would be a 20. Now, whatever fraction I have got, I will again divide it by 5 in the numerator and 5 in the denominator. And the answer would be 3 over 4. It is not that 75 over 100 is wrong or 15 over 20 is wrong. These are all equivalent fractions. 3 over 4, 15 over 20 and 75 over 100. These are all equivalent fractions. It's just that they are not the most simplified fractions. It is the best practice to simplify the fractions. Next example, let's try a decimal with a whole number. Let's say I have to convert 2.55 into a fraction. So step number 1 is I will ignore the decimal points and write the number in the numerator. Now I will count the number of decimal digits. So the number of decimal digits here is 2. I will divide this number by 100. Now I can see that both my numerator and denominator are divisible by 5. So I will divide the numerator by 5 and the denominator by 5. 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 1 is 5, and when I divide 100 by 5, I get 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 0 is 0. Now the answer here is 51 over 20. In terms of an improper fraction, I can also convert this improper fraction into a mixed number. So I will have 2 whole 11 over 20. Why am I dividing the decimal numbers by 10, 100 or 1000. If you remember MRDL, whenever I multiplied a decimal number by powers of 10, the decimal shifted towards the right. And here we are trying to remove the decimal. So whenever I have a number, let's say 0.5, and I'm converting this into a fraction, any number, any whole number, any decimal number always has a denominator of 1. So if I multiply the denominator by 10 and the numerator by 10, the decimal shifts towards the right and 5 becomes a whole number as 5, and the denominator 1 times 10 becomes a 10. And this is the logic or the real reason why are we dividing by 10, 100 or 1000. Let's look at one more example wherein we are putting the denominator as 100. Let's say I have a number 0.23 and 0.23, and I have to convert this into a fraction. Now 0.23 means 0.23 divided by 1. Since I have to convert 23 into a whole number, I will have to multiply this by 100, and then only my decimal will shift 2 points towards the right. Remember, MR, multiplication, the decimal shifts towards the right. And how many places it will shift? It will shift depending upon the powers of 10 or the number of zeros. Since the number of zeros are 2 here, I will multiply the decimal shifts towards the right, and 0.23 becomes a 23. I also multiply 100 in the denominator. 1 times 100 becomes 100, and the answer is 23 over 100. And that is the reason why I'm keeping the denominator as 10, 100 and 1000. Here's an easy way to remember the rule to convert any decimal number into a fraction. If I have one decimal place, make the denominator as 10. Remove the decimal point, write it in the numerator and make the denominator as 10. If there are two decimal places or two decimal digits after the decimal point, remove the decimal point or ignore the decimal point, put it in the numerator and make the denominator as 100. If there are three decimal places, make the denominator as 1000. Your learning would be incomplete if you've practiced few questions by yourself. Pause the video here and try these questions by yourself. If you have any doubts or any questions, do mention in the comments. And I'm making you recall the rule. There are just 3 steps. Number 1, ignore the decimals and write the decimal number in the numerator as is. Number 2, count the number of decimal digits in your decimal number and put accordingly the power of 10, 100 or 1000 in your denominator. Number 3, simplify if possible. Now try these questions. I hope you would have solved these questions. Do mention your answers in the comment section. If this video helped you learn, do like, share and subscribe my channel. Happy learning and wish you the best.